What's up, Head Kick Radio listeners? Justin's in studio here. We're coming at you guys hot, and we're going to do a little quick special episode. This is going to come out on a Thursday, and we're going to try to keep it short just because we got a big UFC event, UFC 229, coming up Saturday, so we wanted to get our picks out there, and we wanted to we just wanted to talk a little bit because there's a lot of guests lined up, and Justin, got to get you in here, buddy.
Steve's putting in work, and arguably the biggest UFC in history getting ready to go down here in about 7 to 8 days from now.
Yeah, a week from now. It's
here.
It's weird because I never thought this fight would really happen. So I guess we're just going to jump right into this.
Yeah, I didn't think about it until, obviously we've been discussing what we're going to talk about on the podcast, but this is where people start pulling out of fights. This is that time frame.
Yeah, but these two guys are two guys. I shouldn't say one guy. Like, Conor doesn't pull out of fights. Like, he has that great documentary on Netflix. And
yeah,
have you seen that one?
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. Have you been watching any of the stuff that UFC's been doing on Facebook or?
No, I haven't seen any of that yet. But I want to get back to that. Did you see when Aldo pulled out and Chad Mendez had to step in, and they had that whole event documented? And I thought that he's just the type of guy, he's not pulling out of a fight no matter what.
No, I guess that was more of talking to one person or about one person. There.
Yeah, but Khabib's known to eat tiramisu, and then his body shuts down on him during the weight cut. So that's going to be interesting. And I want to talk about that one really quickly too. If they do create a 165-pound division, let's just say Khabib wins this weekend. Realistically, how long does he stay at 155?
Somebody even said too, the 165 division, it doesn't even technically have to be a regular division. It literally could just be a super fight division. It could be. Literally, think of all the tweeners between 155 and 170 that could go there. But what I was thinking, and I don't know, I haven't heard anybody else talk about this. I'm not saying I'm bringing this up for the first time, but if you do 165, well, that's only 5 pounds to 170. So then you're going to have all those guys dropping down to 65, that extra 5 pounds, those who can make it. And then all the guys from 55 will obviously be able to make 65. So, there's just so many potential fights that you could make if that division's made there. 155, the 15 pounds is kind of in between the two divisions now is kind of what makes it awkward.
Yeah.
But if you do a 160 or 165 division, I think it just opens up the possibilities for absolutely massive fights.
Well, you have to move the 170-pound division to 175. It's
right.
The only logical thing.
And then go 85, and then 205, and then.
What about 95?
You could, but has there really ever been any?
There's a lot of guys like Luke Rockhold and those kind of super athletes that are.
Yeah, but then you're talking about something that would probably take years to do to readjust the weight.
I don't think so,
classes.
man. Because, for example, look at myself. I'm somebody who would thrive at a 195-pound weight class. Walking around in between 205, 210. So it's not much weight to cut.
So do you think they could just not necessarily just snap their fingers and make it happen, but do you think over a short period of time they could make? I guess you would have to set a date and say this is January 1st, 2019. Let's just throw that'll be the first year in UFC's history where they'll have a 55 division, 65, 75, 85, 95, 205. Then do 225 or whatever. And
they're going to start coming in 2019, and they're going to start coming for one reason and one reason only, and that's because the UFC is moving to ESPN. So what are they going to do when they have to fill all these ESPN cards? If you remember when Fox first had the contract with UFC, the UFC was throwing fire, cards on Fox.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now they're going to have to do that for ESPN, and they have a lot more. Well, how do you get more attention? You just do the same simple boxing. That's what I hate about it, is it follows the boxing rules, and I don't like that. So when you have a 165-pound division, don't call it super lightweight or those kind of things. Give it a new name. Let's not keep it like boxing, and let's also get better referees.
Well, then what about all these new conspiracy theories that at least I've read about a little bit that we just signed a new deal with ESPN and we don't have Brock Lesnar right now. We don't have Conor McGregor for probably that much longer. We'll get into his contract a little bit later. And Ronda Rousey's not coming back. We don't have any big stars right now. but there is John Jones out there.
Yeah.
So,
John Jones and Daniel Cormier have to headline UFC 230.
Well, now they're talking Gustafsson, John Jones, but I'm saying.
Well, Dana was saying that for December, but you know what doesn't make sense is Dana was like, John's too big right now. Well, he's not too big for the heavyweight division, sir. And guess who also has that belt? His arch nemesis.
What I was saying, more conspiracies, like the USADA and the UFC. John Jones went from potentially having a 4-year suspension, to getting a 15-month suspension. And now people are saying he snitched on somebody. Like I don't want to get into all that, at least yet, until more details come out. But you got all that. But UFC just signs a new ESPN deal, a massive ESPN deal. They don't really have any mega superstars right now besides
Conor.
I mean Conor, but like I said, we'll get into that later. But he's probably not fighting 6 more times. I'll say that.
Even though he signed that 8-fight contract,
I don't think whichever one it is. I don't think he's fighting that many times. But
no, but it's
a lifetime contract, so he doesn't go to anywhere else.
The sport already has a following, so it's one of those deals to me that it's like Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come.
He'll fight at UFC 300.
You'll make these weight classes. These fighters will come. There's always stars are going to be born because the people are always looking for the next best thing. And so you create the next best thing. Like that's why you see people like Colby Covington doing their little, ploys and things like that, because they want to become that next best thing just by getting people talking about them, whether it's good or bad. Because a lot of people love villains too. So that's why we
100%
we build up the bad guy. So all you have to do is just
that's
keep
why
talking.
Everyone's saying that's Colby's heel. That's not really who he is when he's not in front of a microphone and cameras. Like he's doing that to build a name and stuff like that. He's not Conor McGregor. He didn't have an entire country behind him and stuff like that. Where you don't really have to play the heel. I mean, McGregor would do his thing and talk smack and all that stuff, but I mean that seemed more genuine. But Colby, I mean, people are saying it's his heel, but look how popular he is now. I mean, he talked his way into an interim title, and now, whenever it happens, it seems like if people can't see me, I'm kind of rolling my eyes a little bit. Whenever he fights Howard Woodley, that's going to be one of the bigger fights. I would say at 170 pounds in recent history. I'm not saying of all time, but recent history would be one of the bigger fights. I mean, I can't think of anybody. I mean, Lawler Woodley was kind of big. Like Woodley Wonder Boy didn't really get that much traction. And I didn't really realize I wanted it until not too far back. It kind of started getting some traction. Why not Woodley McGregor? If Woodley can find a way to beat Colby and then McGregor beats Khabib, and if GSP's not looking to fight, why not do screw it, Conor, go for that third belt at 170?
Well, if Conor beats Khabib, and that's assuming that's the only way he gets a shot at the 170-pound title, GSP is going to be saying, "Oh, I can make 155."
You think?
I
agree with you.
Hear me out here. You want to talk about third belt? The reason that the UFC would not, if they don't, I don't know if they're going to, if they don't do the Dustin Poirier, Nate Diaz 165 title fight as the main event.
Oh, Diaz.
Let's just assume they don't. Let's assume Dana's being true to his word here, and he's not going to bring in that 165-pound title. Then wait until that ESPN deal, but instead of having a pay-per-view with another good, let's say the 125-pound, men's or females title as the headline, they throw that on an ESPN card instead, and then boom, here comes that third title opportunity for Conor McGregor versus GSP at 165, and that's when they debut the 165-pound division.
And we'll get into our picks more towards the end of the podcast here, but we're not even talking about the fact that Khabib wins. That's all over. I mean, it's not over necessarily, but it takes somewhat of a hit.
What do you mean? Then it's Khabib versus GSP at 165.
But
the next title is GSP and whoever at 165. But see, the thing is,
I don't think Khabib, he for some reason it feels like he has a bigger following than he actually does. Well, I also feel like this Conor Khabib fight doesn't have much. I don't hear many people talking about it besides my UFC friends, like the casuals who are usually into UFCs, like my roommates and stuff like that. They know about UFC. One, they live with me, but they somewhat stay in the loop. They're not even really talking about it. I'm like, I even told him, like, hey, guys, I'm going to have to work October 6th. I'm still going to watch it. I work for a sports company, but I have to work October 6th. If you guys want to throw a party for the fight, you guys are kind of on your own. And they were kind of like, we'll see.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that was surprising to me.
I know, I get it, because I've had a few conversations with the diehards and, of course, the guys at the gym. Like, we're all amped up about it.
Oh, of course.
But the casual fan that you would hear talking about Mayweather versus McGregor, I think the reason that fight was so successful, like viewer-wise, is because it was something what people thought was out of the norm. They're like, oh, an MMA guy going over to boxing to fight, perhaps the greatest boxer in his...
And it was two megastars.
Yeah.
Megastars.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, Khabib really is a star. We can't forget that. But the thing is like to people that don't know anything about like the sport, it's kind of like in common people's minds. It's kind of like if a football team went to play a baseball team on, in a baseball diamond. Yeah. They're like, what?
I would bet you walking around Europe or like some other country, like not, in the, Canada, US, or something like that. I guarantee you this fight's huge.
Oh yeah, like over in Russia, this fight's being talked about.
Oh, yeah.
Huge.
Ireland,
England, Ireland.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that, but I'm just saying. I guess more. I was just speaking of here.
Yeah,
and I'm curious to see if that reflects pay-per-view.
Well,
numbers.
No, I don't think it will here, because here's why. Here's why I don't think it was talked about as much is when this fight was announced in right before September. What just happened? What's the biggest sport in America? Football. So football was kicking off. Well, that's all anybody's talking about, because the kneeling thing. Kaepernick is Tom Brady and the Patriots going to the Super Bowl again. Like that whole phenomenon. Right. Like and everybody still they have optimism about their team. Well, by next weekend when this fight happens, your team's either like 1-3, 0-4, 0-5 or whatever. Like your hopes are dwindling there.
Unless
so you're like, I'm just gonna watch.
Yeah, bear down, baby.
Well, this is the first time. That's what I'm saying. Your team has been terrible for years.
I'm not getting into that. But I'm enjoying it while I can.
But I'm just pointing it out. So by this coming Saturday, you're going to tune into the UFC if you're a huge football fan, because your team's out of it.
Right. Well, yeah. So we'll circle back to 229 and give some of our picks here. But you had a couple things that were on your mind.
Yeah, dude. So your boy here started doing yoga.
Right. How's that going, man?
It's going
hot yoga?
well.
Regular yoga?
Just regular yoga.
Okay. Like just at the gym, or is it like a yoga studio, or?
Yeah. So I've done a morning yoga thing at a studio, and then I've done, there is a class at Columbia that, where I work and I go to school, that they do it on Mondays. So I've hit that one up, and then I've been doing it at home on my own too.
Just like watching videos on YouTube or something like that. Okay, yeah.
I'll blast her out. Everybody, she's number one search thing. You know me. Like when I type something in the search bar, I'm just like, yoga.
Oh, yeah.
First thing that pops up is like yoga with Adrian. I'm like, yep, that's good enough.
Yeah, that works.
And, and it doesn't hurt that she's easy on the eyes. And I'm like, okay, I can watch you teach me yoga. And
right.
Yeah. So I started doing it. And I want to tell you, because I've started back full time in the gym. And not just, sparingly from this herniated disc. And I feel so much better.
Yeah?
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's still the pain. Like, don't get me wrong. That nerve root that runs down that main nerve root canal, it still hits the impingement of that herniation. So there's like just a pain there. But I didn't realize that when I wasn't really stretching, because that's kind of right now, that's what yoga is to me, is like just like organized, stretching.
Okay.
And so like I still have that pain from the nerve root hitting that impingement, and I didn't realize that there was a binding of the muscles in that area. Well, now that I've been really stretching it and hitting the inversion table for at least 10 minutes a day, icing it for 20 minutes, man, I'm starting to feel better because now the muscles don't hurt. So I'm all on board. I'm team yoga right now. I haven't hit the levels that everybody's really talking about, where they find their chi and their zen and all that, fun, cool stuff.
Yeah.
But I am getting benefits of, okay, now it's just a pain and it's not like an aching.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Well, I mean, you said you've only been going for a couple weeks now.
Yeah, almost 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, I mean, with due time, it's going to get easier with everything. Like it's another thing you want to mention, like if you don't go to the gym for, let's just say 6 months or a year or whatever, that first week after you go back, you're going to be sore, regardless of if you worked out for, you know what I mean, 3 years straight or whatever. You're going to be, you're going to be sore. But after that, it's like at least I can only speak for myself, but it's almost like an enjoyable pain, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I like to say it hurts so good.
Yeah,
that's
like,
jiu-jitsu to me.
Yeah, like that's kind of seems like what is that kind of something that yoga's doing for you? Is that kind of what you're talking about, or like you just think you're always going to have that little pain, but it's feeling better with everything that you're doing?
I think if I don't have surgery or if I don't do something for it again, I'm always going to have that pain. But I think by doing the things I'm doing, doing yoga, the inversion table, I'm probably going to start occasionally see if I can get a massage or something, or see the chiropractor, that kind of stuff, and see if I can make it even better. But like just adding yoga was such a huge difference. And I want to say, because I've done an hour probably 5 times now, and if you really commit to doing those stretches, it is hard.
Yeah,
it's super hard. Like you know when you like get that weak muscle syndrome and your muscles just start shaking when you're trying to hold something. Yeah. Man, I've hit that every time, and I feel amazing. Like I don't get that soreness that you get days later after it, because I do work out and stuff like that.
I guess that's what I was asking. Like since you're not like sore from it. But,
no.
Okay.
But it does hurt so good.
Well, yeah. Okay.
But I don't feel like I need to go hit the weights or anything after that to really get
right.
Like I get it all out in yoga, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Do you think that's something that you could do? Like you said, you're still relatively new in it, but I mean, you're a workout. You've done an extensive amount of working out in your life. Could you do like yoga in the morning and then like let's just hypothetically here, wake up early in the morning, go do yoga, go to work, then after work still lift and have enough energy to get you to like do it all? Or
yeah, exactly. Like I could definitely do that. So I always have like a morning routine,
or even like switch them, or
and I've always thought about just even doing yoga in the mornings instead of my morning routine of like push-ups, squats, and things like that. I do just a bunch of different sets to get the body going.
And stuff, yeah.
And I was like, I bet yoga would do the same thing, and I just get a really good stretch in the morning. So I've done a morning yoga class, and that was really cool, and I had a great day, but I didn't have anything that evening, so I did just come home and I hit the kettlebells. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have said too, like in the morning, like one of the first things you do, like stretching, getting your body loose, like that's definitely going to help. You know what I mean? It's definitely going to help you out. You know what I mean? It's just going to make you feel better throughout the day. And I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about yoga. I mean, you've tried to get me to go to Jiu Jitsu. I've had other people try to get me to go to yoga. I think the reoccurring theme here is I might just be a little lazy / intimidated, because I mean, do you stretch before you work out, or do you do anything not including yoga, but like before you work out with the kettlebell, do you do any stretches or anything, just kind of get loose or anything like that? Okay.
I do warm-up sets. So if I'm at the gym, I will stretch, or I say stretch. I'll do some push-ups, some air squats, just kind of get the muscles going.
Just get the blood.
Then I'll stretch a little bit, and then we do a whole warm-up set before the class instruction that involves shrimps, ninja rolls, cartwheels, Granbys.
So would you say you were at least mildly flexible before you went to your first yoga class?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm probably an average person when it comes to flexibility.
Could you touch your toes if you were sitting on the floor, like Indian style or whatever? You know what I mean? Not Indian style, but
your toes already there. Like
you know what I'm asking. Like if you're sitting on the floor and you have your feet straight out, could you touch your toes?
I can't touch them if I'm sitting down. I can't touch my toes unless I'm really warm. Like after rolling for 30 minutes at least, I can do that. But if I'm just before I do anything that really exerts my whole body and I get a great sweat going, no, I can't.
I mean, I know that's just your hamstrings. That's one muscle.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but like with a slight knee bend, standing up, I can touch my toes.
Okay.
So if that explains my flexibility.
Okay. So like, were you intimidated? Like, so did you go with a friend, or were you just like, screw it, I just want to try something new?
Yeah.
Or did you go with a friend?
Yeah. So I wrote. I don't know if you read the blog post I wrote this past week. And it was basically talking about that, like the first time I went to jiu-jitsu, and we should sit down and talk about that. I did go with a friend the first time because I was so nervous and I knew I wanted to do jiu-jitsu. So I talked to a buddy who's done jiu-jitsu before but didn't go regularly. I talked him into just going with me because I needed, kind of need that extra like emotional support kind of thing.
Oh, definitely.
Of somebody being there. And
it's like working out with a partner is better than, at least just personally, I think, just having somebody there.
Yeah, you just need that person to go with you the first time, and after that, you're great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had my buddy go with me, and after that, I was just hooked. I was like, okay, I really like doing this. So I'm coming back and back. Well, anyway, so I built up all this confidence, and I've been going to the gym.
Yeah.
For like to those kind of environments where like it would be a yoga environment where there's just a bunch of other people in there, no equipment, because it's kind of weird because like at least when you go to the gym to lift weights, there's equipment there. It gives you something to touch and this and that. Well, when you go to Jiu Jitsu or go to yoga, there's none of that. There's no equipment. It's just your body. In yoga, it's just your body versus your body. In Jiu Jitsu, it's your body versus their body kind of thing. So the only thing you get to touch is another person. And I think that personal interaction of having to put your hands on somebody else has made going to yoga so much easier. So like when I go to yoga, I remember, because I'm starting it brand new, I just remembered the first time I started jiu-jitsu, and I was like, man, Steven, I was like, you can do this. You just got to get over that initial nervousness and just go, because everybody there has been a beginner before. They've done this before. And, they're not going to make fun of you. They understand what it's like to not be good when you start. Yeah. And that's kind of what my blog post was about. Like, when I started, I was not good. I got hammered. Now I can survive.
Okay.
Because there's, like, points. Like, for a long time, you're just sitting there surviving. Like, you don't even get to do offense. You're just all defense. Okay. And then once you kind of figure out how to defend, and then you kind of understand your body more, then you can start working your offensive game and the things that you've been learning.
Yeah. So how big was your first class that you went to? If you had to guess, how many people do you think were there?
I think there was like 15
to 20, maybe somewhere in that ballpark. Okay. But so you didn't feel like intimidated at all? Like, oh no, like if I fall over, like, I don't know, like if something happens, like this is going to be embarrassing.
No, because
you can't have that mentality going into something like that, can you?
No. So I have like the opposite. I kind of have the Conor McGregor mentality in my head. Like, even though I try to be the nicest person in the world just because I love being nice, I just do. It's just my thing. But in my head, like if people could hear the thoughts in my head, they're so competitive and they're kind of evil if you think about it. And so I'll tell you exactly what I was thinking when I went in there, because these are a bunch of, I'll tell you about the one I went to last Monday. So it was a bunch of college kids, and I just looked around and I just told myself, I was like, dude, you're a bad mother. Like, nobody in here is better than you. Like, and this is the competitiveness in me. I'm like, I'm going to hold these poses better, and do each of these things. But I knew I wasn't, because there's a lot of ladies in there too. And they are, young ladies, and they are good because they're still young. They're still very flexible.
Well, and this isn't like I don't want people to take this remark the wrong way, but like women are like more flexible than like men. So like, you know what I mean? Like yoga for them, it's going to be a little, I'm not saying it's going to be easier, like a ton easier, but they're going to have some smaller advantages. But anyways,
even if they do, I just want to say like a lot of them are better, but there was also a few guys in there and they were pretty good too. Like I was looking over at this guy that was next to me, because sometimes I'd be focusing so much I wouldn't hear the instructions that we're giving, and I would have to look over
and see what other people are doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
how did you? Okay, so Steven goes to his first yoga class. It lasts for what, an hour?
Yeah, every one of them I've been to have been an hour.
It lasts an hour. So you get done and stuff like that. Yoga instructor says, "Okay, that's the end of our," or whatever they say. You walk out. What are your first thoughts after you walk out?
Well, hang on. I want to get to the end of it, because like a lot of yoga is like mind, body, spirit stuff.
Yeah.
And I can get into those states.
A lot of it's breathing too, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's what it is. You realize once you start doing breathing exercises or meditating in your life, you realize how much you don't actually breathe. Like, we're having a conversation right now, but we're kind of clenching. We're holding our guts, and our stomachs, and we're not really breathing. So when you start to just put a bunch of deep, calm, soothing breaths, breathing in and breathing out, and only focusing on your breath, as hippie as it sounds, you feel different within 30 seconds. It's like, to me, it's kind of the quickest high that you could ever get.
But going back to that meathead mentality, when I first started working out, one of the first things they taught me was like, you got to breathe while you're working out, or like you're not going to get anything done.
Right.
Like, so it's kind of like what you're saying. You have to, you have to breathe throughout what you're doing. But get back to what you were saying there.
Yeah. So I'm slowly kind of falling in love with yoga, even if I never become like a big yogi kind of person, which I don't think yoga is going to change my personality. I think my personality is kind of what it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, it might make me a better person. I hope everything I do makes me a better person, but I'm somebody who will just enjoy sitting here in the house and doing it, on nights that I'm too sore to lift or I'm not going to jiu-jitsu and things like that. But I wanted to talk to you about jiu-jitsu because when I had Josh on and he was asking, like, hey, man, how's the podcast, this and that, we were chit-chatting before and I was telling him, that you were my co-host, this and that. I was filling him all in. And he goes, does he do jiu-jitsu? And I said, as a matter of fact, Josh, no, Justin does not do jiu-jitsu. And he goes, we got to change that. That's what he said. And I was like, right? And he goes, tell him to come to the gym. So you have been invited by not just me, but the head instructor of 10th Planet to come to the gym and just give it a try.
Okay. When do you usually go?
I usually go Tuesday, Friday, and some Saturdays.
Tuesday, Friday, and some Saturdays. Okay. I'm sure we could figure something out here before definitely in the next couple of months. I'll come check it out.
Okay, because but I want to point out this, everybody's intimidated in the rolling aspect of it. For the first month, 2 months, just come in. You don't even have to roll, and nobody expects you to. If you really get ambitious and you want to roll, that's when you get to roll with Josh and all the higher belts that will take care of you because they don't want you to do something, terrible to hurt yourself or to, potentially hurt somebody that's not that much more skilled than you. So when you're ready, you can roll with them and they basically take care of you. That's what's so cool about people are scared to roll with black belts, brown belts, purple belts and stuff like that. I'm like, no, my whole existence of doing jiu-jitsu is I want to roll with those people because they're going to get the better of me practically every single time, but they're not going to hurt me.
Right. They realize that as long as you're rolling with I would assume, of course, since I've never done it before, I would assume as long as you're not rolling with somebody who's a total dick, they're not going to let me just choke this guy out in 3 seconds real quick. Hold on a minute. This, I don't want to roll with this guy. This guy's a freaking blue belt and I'm a black belt. I don't want to waste my time with this guy. You know what I mean?
That's what's cool is the higher up you see people get, the more,
I would assume, of course,
the more humble they get and everything. Yeah. So of
course, because it's the grind that you've talked about before that it takes to get there.
I wouldn't be as calm and friendly as I think that I am now if it wasn't for jiu-jitsu because I didn't realize how much built up aggression I have.
Yeah.
If I don't lift weights, if I don't go to jiu-jitsu, if I don't go for a run for 48 hours, I'm just nothing but pent up aggression. And testosterone. It's not good for anybody. It's not good for me. It's not good for the people around me.
You know what else is it's kind of random, but it made me think of it. Another good thing for me that's kind of I use working out as a good stress reliever or something like that. Like you said, a lot of pent up emotion. It just helps you get out all that energy and stuff like that. Another thing that people are going to think, I don't know, hopefully people don't think I'm crazy for saying this. I find going shooting, with my grandfather, is it's not relaxing because you're holding a high-powered weapon in your hand, but it's another form of, I don't know.
No, it is. No, I agree 100%. Did I talk to you about that? Because, recently I just went back home, saw my dad, and we went to the range.
That's why I brought it up because I know you said it was one of the first things you guys did, and I thought that was awesome because that's one thing that me and my grandfather do.
Yeah.
A lot is because I'll be honest with you, the first time that I went, I hated it. The first couple times I went, I was very intimidated by it. I mean, I was younger. I was maybe only 12, 13. So I was younger. I mean, I know people
hang on, I want you to keep that mindset that you're thinking of right now. So it was intimidating. So it was stressful and you didn't really want to go back. When you start jiu-jitsu, it's not if, it's when you start jiu-jitsu. Remember that. The first maybe month, it's tough to where you don't know if you want to go back, but just get past that little hump and then walk away from it for a week or two. And then you're going to see this is what it is. I want to go back now.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's that same feeling. It's hard. Right. It's hard to go in there when you don't know what you're doing and you see other people doing really cool stuff and you realize, man, I'm not really in tune with my body as much as I think I am. But once you start getting more in tune with your body, that's when you're like, oh man, all those nerves and all that scaredness that I had of not wanting to go, I don't even care if I get tapped out 1,000 times. I want to go back because I'm getting better and better.
Okay.
And then you get to see actual progression in yourself. And it's the same thing with shooting guns. Like I was the same way, like even going hunting and things like that as a kid. I was like, the first time I ever killed a deer was like, it was terrifying to me. It was traumatizing.
How old were you?
15 or 16.
Okay. So, I mean, you weren't a kid, but you were still young, but you weren't.
Well, I mean, the first time you take something's life like that, like, I mean, I've killed birds and squirrels and stuff like that, but like an actual animal that was the size of a human, it's one of those things. But like, it took years for me to get that appreciation that you're talking about right there. Like, you know, because I was so scared to use that rifle on something else that I was taking its life.
Definitely.
Even though that I had all the best intentions for it and to use it and everything. But that stress relief, like now when I go hunting, like the absolute worst part of it is killing another animal, but the whole experience, watching nature, like there's just a lot of things that go into it. So it's the same thing with shooting a gun. When you go to the range and shoot a gun with grandpa, if you're out back in the pasture, it's intimidating, but it does. You feel better. Like I looked over at Dad when we were at the gun range, because I literally got off the plane. We had something to eat. We went to the range, and I get so anxious when I fly. So when I was shooting those, you know, shooting the AR-15, the P90, Glock 19, Glock 22, like we were just
having a blast.
Yeah, we were just, you know, busting off a few hundred rounds.
Oh yeah.
And I just looked over at my dad when we were done. I was like, dude, I feel so much better.
Oh yeah, like I don't even like know how to describe it, and that's weird. Like it's I don't know. It's just
it feels crazy weird, like, doesn't
it? I don't. I almost feel like I don't want to say weirdo, but I almost feel like weird to say that like it's nice having that much power in your hand or something like that. I don't know. Like I don't know.
I mean that's kind of what it is. It's like you behold power now, but you want to use it for good. You don't want to use it on people. That's the whole Jordan Peterson thing of, you know, every man should know that he or she is capable, or, you know, I say man, every person should know that he or she is capable of violence. But what makes them a good person is not using violence on anyone else. It's, you know, controlling the violence. And that's kind of what it is with a weapon. You're like, I have all this power to do potential bad things, but I'm not going to. And so like there's that, it's just like, it's that relief.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like it's your body or your mind, your soul, whatever, telling yourself like, man, I could do something really terrible, but I don't want to. And then it feels like it just washes all that stress away. It's like, you know, like I am a good person and I am getting a lot out of this. I'm getting better. I'm getting a skill. Like, and there's just so much that goes into it. That's what I take away from it.
Okay.
And I think that's what that feeling is.
Okay.
It's kind of like, it's why martial artists, I think, get that feeling every day. It's because you go into the gym and you're just, you know, wrecking people. Let's say you're really good, right? You're top person at the gym or something. You're just like, oh man, you know, you're world champion, whatever it is. But you know, when you walk out on the streets, like I could use this at any time, but I'm not going to. So that's why they walk around with all this confidence and they're at ease.
Okay.
And most people that, you know, because they don't train and they don't do that, they just walk around all bound up like, oh, you know, like,
okay,
I want to do something bad, but then they don't know that they don't know that they can.
Right.
And that's what's so funny. That's why they have all that aggression. It's like, I just want to be bad, you know. And
that's why you're supposed to. That's why when you're in public, you're supposed to avoid the gentleman with the cauliflower ears. Those are the gentlemen you want to avoid.
Well, think about it when you're at work, right? And you're in a meeting and you know nothing about that person. But if you see, you know, if it's a good leader, I suppose it would be that he or she's really calm. Like, and they put off like an aura of confidence and calmness, and people follow that. Well, that's what martial arts gives you. That's what, you know, getting good at shooting bows or guns or something that where you could potentially be super dangerous. And I think that's that feeling you're talking about.
Okay. Well, let's circle back here. Let's get into the final countdown here. It's officially happening. Conor Khabib, UFC 229, T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Does it feel like this fight's been a long time coming?
Super long.
I mean, it's been since 205 since we haven't seen Conor when he beat.
It's been almost 2 years
since he beat Eddie Alvarez. You know, there's obviously more. You know, we're gonna touch on a few other fights here on the card, but
yeah,
man, it just feels good to have Conor back though. Like it's, you know, it's not fight week yet until it's Monday. You know, whenever it hits the Monday of fight week, but we're posting this the Thursday before the fight, but we're recording this before. But man, it feels good to have him back, and hopefully nothing happens and the fight stays together. But
I think it will. But hang on, the first fight on this card I want to talk about, because there's a lot of really good ones, so I'm skipping a ton that I want to talk about, but for time's sake, skipping it. Is Sean O'Malley versus Jose Quinones. There you go. And that guy was on The Ultimate Fighter.
Sugar Shane, man.
Sugar Sean. I'm a huge fan of Sugar Sean. Like, this kid, I don't know, he just seems like a nice, cool, genuine kid.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
he's pretty talented.
He's 23. Young. I mean, he was on that Ultimate Fighter, he was on that Contender Series, right? Looking for a fight with Dana White or something like that. That's how they found him. And I mean, the guy's 10-0. The guy he's fighting's on a nice little 4-fight winning streak here. I mean, the guy he's fighting's only 28. Jose.
Who do you have in it?
I'm gonna take Shane O'Malley.
Sean.
I don't know why I keep saying.
How dare you disrespect this kid who would kick your head off your shoulders?
Oh, not even close. Not even close. But yeah, I'll take Sean.
I am too. How you think he's gonna knock him out? Decision? What do you think?
I'm gonna go knockout here. I'm gonna go TKO, technical knockout. I don't think it's gonna be a clean KO. I think it's gonna be just peppers him with some shots and
Yeah, I've got a feeling that Sugar Sean's gonna do like the old school Donald Cerrone, kind of put the beat down on him standing. He goes to the ground. Sugar Sean's gonna. He's gonna tap him out.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna guillotine him.
I'm with that.
Rear naked choke something. He's gonna choke him out.
I mean, and then at that point, I think assuming that happens, I think you'd see Sean probably get a top tier guy after that.
And I think he headlines a UFC fight night.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. All right, moving on. Michelle Watterson, the karate hottie, versus perhaps, my opinion, she's in the top 3 for sure, but if not number 1, best looking female fighters. And not only is she great looking, she can freaking throw down. She has so much heart.
Who did she just beat in her last fight?
She just beat. I have to look again.
She won a really close decision against somebody, right?
No, she lost to Carolina her last fight, but she was on a nice 4-fight win streak before. Yeah. But
Courtney Casey got married. She's Courtney Casey Sanchez now.
Oh yeah,
congratulations. But a lot of decisions, man. Felice Herring has been,
dude. She's so good though.
In some wars.
Dude, she's so good. And she's not far from us right now. I think she trains out in the suburbs.
Okay. So I'm assuming how is your girl gonna win?
Well, see, I'm a big fan of Michelle Watterson too. So, but I am gonna go with Felice Herrig because I've always been a believer in her, and I'm gonna ride that train until she retires.
Okay.
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of a lot of people, but some people they get a little extra notch in the book. So I think Felice Herrig wins a decision.
Okay.
And then she gets a top 5 fighter, and then maybe she can make another run.
Okay. I'm just gonna flip that on you. I'll take Michelle Watterson with the decision. Another very close. That fight could go. Well, any of these fights can obviously go either way. I've said that a million times on this freaking podcast.
Yeah.
But I just think Michelle Watterson finds a way to win a decision there.
I agree. I mean, I could see it, I should say. I shouldn't say I agree because I don't agree. I think Felice will win.
Okay.
Let's moving on. Question is, do you think Derek Lewis's back is going to be okay against this fight against Alexander Volkov?
I'm a huge fan of Derek Lewis. Love his social media. Following him on social media is just one of the more entertaining things
his Instagram
to do out
is
there.
So hilarious.
It's top notch. If you don't, even if you're not a UFC fan or even a fan of his, it doesn't matter. Just go there and be entertained.
Yeah,
it's his own version of World Star Hip Hop.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
It's his own version, but yeah, I'm gonna go. Derek Lewis wins via knockout.
What round?
Let's go. I'll go first round. I think especially with how the Ngannou fight went and stuff like that. And hopefully they've been pumping him with legal steroids. He's been adamant about that. Legal steroids. Hopefully the back's healthy. I think especially with how the Ngannou fight went, I think he pushes the pressure and gets an early knockout.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going same thing. We'll move on from that to OSP, Ovent St. Peru versus Dominic Reyes.
Okay.
I got to go.
You go ahead.
I got to go with my boy OSP. Got to keep it in that 10-piece system. I think that, he's got sick jiu-jitsu. His stand-up, it's not bad. It's average to above average. I don't know what he's been, doing training-wise. I haven't followed him as much as I used to. That's on me. But I believe he's out there in Tennessee, so shout out to him because it's a great place.
Association right here. It says Knoxville MMA, so you are correct.
Yeah. So I don't know if he's still training with Brandon McCaffrey.
Man. He does not seem like
He's a former Tennessee Vol football player, bro.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I just wouldn't take him. I just wouldn't have guessed that he's 35. I guess I should say. So yeah. I guess that's a compliment to him.
So I think I'm going to say he knocks out Dominic this time. I think that
I think so too.
Because he's always submitting people for the most part. He has, a few KOs in his history and stuff like that. But I feel like for some reason in my head, I got this little gut intuition that he's got something he wants to prove with his stand-up again.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him a second-round knockout.
I think OSP's got one more run in him, at least one more good run. Maybe take a run at the title if he can get on a little run here.
But this guy's fighting is 9-0, so I want to say he's not going to be a pushover. Don't let it sound as easy as I'm making it sound.
Because Dominic Reyes is 28, 9-0, like you'd mentioned. Is this one of those fights where the UFC is kind of like, hey, we got a young up-and-comer, we've got a veteran here,
yeah.
a veteran here. One of them, winner of this, maybe gets another top 15 guy, and then. We'll go from there. Winner of this maybe gets potentially started on a run at maybe getting a shot at 205.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So, I like this next fight. You know me.
Yeah. So, let me
Tony Ferguson versus Anthony Pettis.
I think it's so smart that the UFC put this fight on this card because if for some strange reason and you've already allured to it before, if there's some reason why Khabib
or Conor pulls out.
Pulls out. You have two of these guys in the wings waiting to take a fight.
And it's Tony gets first choice, obviously, being the former champ. But what's so cool about the Anthony Pettis part is Anthony Pettis is a former champ. But I want to say first, because we all know I'm already picking Tony Ferguson. It's not even it's not even cute anymore.
It's just more of how you think he's going to win.
Yeah. I've watched a lot of Anthony Pettis fights. And this is going to be the first time it sounds like I've really bashed on somebody. After Anthony Pettis lost his title to Benson Henderson,
right?
Anthony Pettis has never been the same in big-time fights. He never has.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, out of all the big-time fights he's been in, I'm even talking the Benson Henderson fight. Or just look at his record. Everybody's fought. Nobody is as good as Tony Ferguson. But here's what I'm also going to say, and I think you can see this coming too. The main event. Both of those fighters are not as good as Tony Ferguson. My one hesitation in saying that is how is he going to come off this knee injury? And he's coming back quick.
Oh, yeah.
Super quick. But
posting all his kooky workout videos.
I was going to say, but if you watch his social media, and then I think to myself, there's healthy people not even doing that.
Right. Dude's an animal.
He's insane.
He's got a motor.
I don't know if anybody has a better work ethic.
He's got a crazy motor for sure. Okay, so what round how is your guy Tony getting the victory?
Tony's one of those guys who likes to drag people into deep water.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say he's going to finish him late second, early third.
Yeah, I'm going to say he wins via submission in the second round. To give Anthony Pettis some credit there, his last fight was the best he's looked in a long time. He looked phenomenal in his last fight. I think we're going to get a very competitive first round. And early, I don't know. I've thought about this a lot. I think early we're going to get a lot. For some reason, I don't know. Tony could come out flying. He could come out with a flying knee to start the fight. Who knows? Just to prove to everybody that he's back.
He could. He's crazy.
But for some reason, I think he might be a little hesitant. And then Anthony might be able to land a couple shots here, but nothing to hurt him. But just a couple nice jabs, and then Tony will get. It sometimes it takes guys after coming back from an injury to get hit once or twice to be like, oh, this is this hasn't changed. The game hasn't changed since I fought. Like, it's the same thing. It's just get hit in the face.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Whatever.
And there's nobody I think in all of MMA that has a tougher chin than Tony Ferguson.
So, I could see it being a very competitive fight early, and then you just see Tony get more comfortable with being back in the ring because,
and that's when he drags him in to deep water.
When people are saying that that's kind of what Khabib did with some of his last fights was he hadn't fought in so long. He kind of wanted to be in there for all 15 minutes to kind of, get used. So I could see Tony wanting to do something like that, but I think eventually late in the second round, I'll agree with you. I think he wins via submission. Maybe another Darce choke. Why not?
Darce is his thing.
Give us another Darce choke here. But
I believe his dog's name is.
I would be so pumped if Anthony Pettis won though, but I'm picking Tony Ferguson.
Okay. So all right, main event time. So we can wrap this thing up.
God, I still don't know. Like I'm gonna make a pick here, but
I was about to say, well, you don't have a choice. You have to know by now.
Like this is legitimately a fight where like. It could end in 30 seconds or it could last 25 minutes.
Yeah. Gut feeling, what is it right now? Don't drag it out. Everybody knows that, well, if Khabib holds him down,
I'm
Khabib's
going
gonna
Khabib
win.
wins via decision.
Okay.
I really think that if Khabib can find a way to consistently get Conor to the ground, and like I said, that's a big if. If he can consistently get him to the ground with all this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like everybody says that same thing.
I'm dropping a swear word here. So the one that all this shit that Conor's been talking about, like his dad and stuff like that, like if Khabib can consistently get Conor McGregor to the ground, I think he's going to do whatever he can to make that 25 minutes last as long as he can.
Right.
That's my guess. But I also think Conor could win in 30 seconds.
I think Russians are the hardest people to read. And like looking at the press conference, to me it seemed like Khabib was a little intimidated. So kind of shocked me when you're in a gym full of killers, Daniel Cormier, Cain Velasquez, Luke Rockhold, all those guys. But I don't think he realized the magnitude that is the storm, the hurricane of Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I doubted that Conor McGregor could beat Eddie Alvarez. And I like Conor McGregor. Like, don't get me wrong.
Right.
I doubted that Conor McGregor would beat Dustin Poirier back in the day. I doubted that Conor McGregor was going to beat Aldo. I highly doubted the most that he was going to beat Chad Mendes, who can wrestle his butt off. So what I want to say,
Chad Mendes had a full fight camp. Conor McGregor's not winning that
I know
fight.
they're different weight classes, but the way Ali Quinta went with Khabib, Chad Mendes is a better wrestler, like pound for pound. So Conor being in there, and I mean, granted, Conor was getting held down till Chad made a mistake, and I love Chad Mendes.
Chad just gassed out. But
right, because he was on short notice.
Yeah.
I think now that Conor's experienced that, Khabib doesn't look so intimidating because remember what I've said multiple times, I think the best in the division at doing what Khabib does is not Khabib. It's Kevin Lee.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a long time. Yeah,
and that's why. So here's what I got. I got a second round knockout, Conor McGregor, because I think the situation, it's not that Khabib's not a great fighter, and I think the second time they fight, Khabib's probably going to win. But this first one, I think for some reason that my intuition saying the moment's going to be a little too big for him just because of the magnitude that Conor McGregor is. And I think Conor's just been nothing but training.
Yeah.
For the past 2 years since he fought Mayweather, he's been nothing but training and training and training.
Yeah.
And we all saw that Khabib can be hit. I think that if you get hit by Conor,
it's different.
It's a lot different.
Yeah, and I've just been on the Khabib train for the longest. Ever since the Michael Johnson fight. Like, I mean, he was obviously doing impressive stuff before then. I mean, dude's 26-0. Like, the dude's incredible. But that Michael Johnson fight where while he was smashing him, he was telling him he needed to do this because he deserved the title fight. He's telling Dana in between rounds, I'm going to smash your boy. Like, I've been so hyped for this fight since then. I can't get off the hype train now. But it's as weird as it is to say is I'm okay if the hype train ends here. Like,
to this guy.
Yeah, because the thing is like you said, the more I think about it too, I think it almost helps Khabib that they didn't let the fans in during that press conference.
But they're going to this week.
Oh, of course they're going to. But if Khabib had that entire crowd against him and stuff like that, he's never seen anything like that before. And to comment on what you said about him seeing intimidated, I wouldn't necessarily say intimidated. I thought he seemed agitated when he started talking about Conor started talking about his dad. Then that's when I think
That's what I'm saying. Conor knows where to get you where it hurts.
He got emotional. I'll give you that. I don't think he was intimidated. I think he was more of like, okay, I really want to smash this dude now. Now, whether or not that means he can get him to the ground or what, because Khabib did not look great against Al Iaquinta, and Kevin Lee beat Barbosa worse than Khabib did.
Right.
So, like...
And I still think the best fighter in that division is Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, it's...
Just be interesting to see after this
like
injury.
I said, this fight could end. Like I said, it could end in 30 seconds, and I would not be surprised at all if Conor comes out, catches him with the left, because like you said, Khabib is prone to get hit, but he's gonna come after you. He's gonna get those takedowns, that pressure. You know, Conor. Now, given this was probably like 4 or 5 years ago at this point, that Chad Mendes fight, but like Conor didn't handle the pressure that well in that fight until Chad gassed, but Chad was on vacation, drinking beer, doing all that kind of stuff. Khabib's a wrestler. This is what he's been doing. No one's ever really questioned his cardio, with the exception of the last fight. Didn't look great against Iaquinta, but I thought he was just trying to prove his stand-up was good, but that's a different story. But I'm going Khabib wins via decision.
Okay. Do you think anybody throws a dolly this week?
Nobody throws a dolly, but... just for the sake of picking, let's say Khabib pulls out and we get Tony Ferguson, Conor McGregor.
T-Ferg.
I'd probably go Ferguson too.
Yeah, T-Ferg overwhelms him.
Yeah, if that happens. I'm glad your boy's back, though.
Conor McGregor's the only person that I worry about how tough is Tony Ferguson's chin, because Tony will stand with him, and Conor's going to hit you if you're going to stand with him.
I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped.
I am too.
It's going to be a great fight.
We're going to see.
Great night of fights.
The fans are going to see if the listeners are going to see if we're right. Hopefully, they hammer us in the comment section.
Let's do it.
I have one thing I want to say before we get out of here. If you guys are doing yoga or something for recovery that you could recommend to myself and Justin, and also encourage Justin to get in the gym, and I got a rash guard for you, so you're all good.
Let's do it, man.
All right, we're going to work something out. Everybody, this has been fun. Episode something. It's a special episode. I don't know what number I'm going to be on by the time I get here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Put out one Monday. I think I'll be out. This will be 21 maybe.
Sure.
All right, Justin. What are we?
We out.
Say hello to the stars above.